In 2 long years, at last, the wait is over. The Dakar Rally is back. The world's toughest rally has a new home. 9,000 kilometers across the barren wastes of Argentina and Chile. The Dakar Rally continues tonight. Exclusive to Supersport, sponsored by Total. You know where to turn.
We're different, you and I. Driven apart by history. Separated by
The Dakar Rally. Brought to you by Supersport. Sponsored by Total. You know where to turn.
Welcome to stage 14, the final competitive kilometres of a truly incredible Dakar rally. Is today the day that Mark Como could continue to come out of the shadow? South Africa's Janil de Villiers speeding towards Dakar glory. Yesterday, the run from La Rioja to Cordoba was quick. Boy, it was quick. The day with a 14-second lead over teammate Ferradus Kabirov in the truck class. A blink of an eye after nearly 2 weeks of racing. The two Camas going head-to-head, less than a quarter of a minute behind them after nearly 50 hours of running. But once on the stage, it was battle all the way, and Chigin was in trouble. Chigin had had a puncture, and Chigin had to stop, and also the brakes were on fire as they struggled to undo the bolts, and they struggled to get the tyre off. A 14-second lead immediately had dissipated, and Kabirov had sped past and into the overall lead of the truck class with just one more stage remaining. Chagin pushed hard once going, and he finished the day only 3 minutes back going into the final stage of the rally. Stage 14 of the Argentina-Chile Dakar for 2009, the final stage, from Cordoba down to Buenos Aires. A 227-kilometre long stage before the 800-kilometre total down back to the starting point of the rally, Buenos Aires. Dawn on what was to be the hottest day of the entire rally. We had been into the depths of the Atacama Desert, the driest place on earth, but nobody had predicted the kind of heat that everybody would suffer on the penultimate day, the final stage. On board with Aurelio Andre Junco, he says we're in the last stage and I've kept concentrated all the way to the finish. I've got to arrive. But never has an Argentine finished the Dakar rally, so for Argentina, it's important. Dakar met an incredible place and Argentina met the Dakar, so we're going to enjoy the last stage.
Creo que el Dakar encontró un lugar increíble y Argentina encontró el Dakar, así que vamos a disfrutar este camino.
Taking it steady as he commentates with the radio link to the helicopter. It's the kind of situation where people then make a silly mistake, and it would be silly to make a mistake on this, the very last stage. The people were out in force, the people were out to see a brand new stage winner on this year's rally. This time it was Helder Rodriguez, the man from Portugal. He had already won a stage of the Dakar rally back home in his own Portugal stages. That was back in 2006, but today it was Rodriguez being victorious on today's stage by just over 2 minutes. Rodriguez, though, confirming his 5th position in the overall standing. Palander's Olivaceta was chasing Rodriguez hard over the last couple of days. The pair of them were split by just 3 seconds 2 days ago. Last night, it was 44 seconds. Could Olivaceta make up the time? The answer to that was a defiant no. The rear tyre on the Norwegian's bike literally ripped to shreds, and Olivaceta losing those 2 minutes to Rodriguez, and Olivaceta having to be content with 6 overall. Cyril Dupre, he kept it safe and sound today. The man who started this rally as the overall favourite, but whose rally collapsed around him in only the first couple of stages with tyre problems and mechanical problems. Dupre valiantly and safely rode to 3rd on today's stage, and Dupre will finish this year's Dakar in 2nd position, 1 hour and 25 minutes behind the overall winner, Marc Coma. Coma was backed up throughout the rally by Jordi Viadon, the youngster and surely another Spanish off-road rally race star for the future. Coma had started his career just as Viadon had, as a water carrier, as a helper to those at the front of the team. David Castello had started the rally equally as Dupre with dramatic problems. Castello, though, one of the stars of the rally and always one to show off. Castello 4th at the finish line in Buenos Aires. But the crowds were out to see the winner. The crowds were out to see Marc Coma. Safely through the stage in 6th position. He wouldn't be worried about that. All he was careful of was taking it steady through the corners, through the vineyards, past the rich agricultural farmland, and Coma victorious for the 2nd time in his career on the Dakar Rally. Just under an hour and a half lead ahead of Dupre, come the finish line in Buenos Aires, and Coma, the quiet Catalan, certainly overjoyed. Frans Verhoeven, 2-time a stage winner on this year's rally. He had a 38-minute penalty early on, and if it wasn't for that, Verhoeven might not have been 8th in the overall standings. He may well have been 4th overall. But drama in the very last few yards. two guys taking themselves out, Mirko Miotto from Italy and Patrick Bonardel from France. Their two bikes colliding on a corner and the pair of them going down. Second Frenchman, but what a result for the little 450cc Yamaha. David Frétinier, third in the overall standings, and a credit to Frétinier that he was only 13 minutes behind Cyril Deprey's second overall. Toys Visser, the Dutchman. Toys Visser having a good run on today's stage, 8th position for him. The Dutch really are beginning to outnumber the French on this rally. The French better watch out. Gerard Fares, another youngster from Spain, another man to look out for in the future. Fares, 10th on today's stage, but the winner on the quads was the man from the Czech Republic aboard his Yamaha, Josef Mačeček, winning by over 2.5 hours. A dominant victory indeed. Quick shout out for David Schwartz of South Australia, suffering a 4-hour penalty a couple of days ago, but David, he's done well. David in 36th position and leading Aussie over the line. Simon Pavey also crossing the line as well on behalf of the Aussies. But come the finish line of today's stage, it was celebration for everybody. Everybody who gets to the finish of the Dakar Rally is a victor. Emotional scenes between the first two guys and teammates and buddies and pals and the men from Spain. Mark Comer, the victor of the Dakar. Today's stage, victorious it was for Helder Rodriguez ahead of Oliver Setter, Deprey, Villadoms and Castello. But the final results overall, it's Mark Comer's Dakar. An hour and 25 minutes ahead of Deprey, Frétinier, Castello and Rodriguez.
Después de todo un
Mark
Dakar
Comer,
entero,
the victor, saying this
no se gana
Dakar
cada
is
día,
not
no.
won in a day. Back in 2007,
año, en el
I lost
2007,
it
pues,
just 2
lo perdí a
days
los días
before
del
the
final.
end.
Aquí enseguida
Here,
nos
I
pusimos
was
en
leading it
cabeza
right
y
from the
hemos
beginning.
tenido que aguantar toda la
I had
presión
to
durante toda la
resist
carrera.
that leading
Y sobre todo
pressure
agradecer
throughout
el
the
trabajo del
whole
equipo, ha
rally.
sido fantástico.
I
Tanto
just wanted
Jordi
to
como
say
Gerard
that my team have
han
done a
trabajado muy
fantastic
bien.
job.
Incluso
Jordi and
Jordi ha
Gerard worked
sacrificado
so
alguna
well.
posición en la
Jordi
general.
sacrificed a
Y luego
position in
toda
the
la
overall
gente que está
standings.
detrás, ¿no? Todos
Also,
los
the
mecánicos,
people behind the scene, the mechanics
toda
and
la gente
support,
de
all
apoyo, ha
fantastic.
sido fantástico.
Now we'll have a party with my
disfrutar
friends and
con los
family.
amigos y con la familia, ¿no?
Un beau final.
Deprey saying it was
digne de la dernière
a good
étape sur
finish
les
like the last
Champs-Élysées,
stage of the Tour de France on the
Très
Champs-Élysées.
rapide, aucune
It was
difficulté,
quick,
pas de
not
navigation,
difficult,
mais bon,
no
du
navigation,
plaisir, voilà,
and it was a pleasure to ride.
La boucle,
This
la
South
boucle d'Amérique
American
du Sud
rally,
est bouclée.
it's a wrap.
C'était difficile de faire plus mal
With
que,
my start, it was hard to do worse, but I've got no
vu
regrets.
le commencement, vu le début que j'ai eu. Voilà, je pense que j'ai pas grand chose à regretter.
Félicitations,
À toi aussi. Bravo.
David Frétinier, third position. It's unexpected, but I fought right until the end. My ambition was to be on this podium, and with such competitors, it was not easy. My bike was maybe a little green since its design, but we were confident, and with the testing, that it was going to go well. I want to say thank you to Yamaha and all my sponsors who backed me. When I told them I wanted to get on the podium in the Dakar, everybody helped me, and I could see that some were not as optimistic as I was. You've got to believe it. The rally is magnificent, good stages, technical. I've had good fun. My team have supported me an enormous amount, and that's essential. David Frétinier leading 450 on this year's Dakar and a heroic result.
Et voilà, et puis une équipe super qui m'ont soutenu à fond, et ça c'est essentiel.
Janil de Villiers crossed the finish line this afternoon in Argentina as the victor of the 2009 Dakar. Volkswagen victorious for the very first time on the world's toughest motorsport event. De Villiers, Dirk von Zitzewitz sitting alongside him, and team boss Chris Nissen, the Dane, in charge of Volkswagen's team effort on this year's event. Second, the American Mark Miller, with South African Ralph Pitchford alongside him. For Volkswagen, it has been a tumultuous last 3 days. They had Carlos Sainz in the lead of the rally, but he dramatically crashed out of the event, dropping off a 6-metre precipice. That then left De Villiers in the lead by just 9 seconds. But over the last 2 days, De Villiers stretched it from 9 seconds to 2.5 minutes, and now to 9 minutes. Come the finish line here in Buenos Aires. De Villiers, formerly a 5-time South African touring car champion, and a man who knows almost nothing but about driving cars. Underneath the searing sun, De Villiers managed to keep his cool ahead of his teammate, Mark Miller, the man from Arizona. He would be used to such heat, but Mark Miller, who came to this rally in the early days as a privateer, now with a works drive, and now in second position on the world's toughest event. The South African being victorious on this year's rally after 48 hours of running, just 9 minutes ahead of the American Miller. Almost the blink of an eyelid in such an enormous event. Third Volkswagen across the line was German Dieter Depping. Depping always the valiant backup. Another American who managed to get on the podium, Robbie Gordon. But Robbie Gordon, he was stricken with throttle problems yesterday, a tiny stone jamming itself in the throttle body, and today yet more luck for the man who drives in IndyCar and NASCAR as well. Gordon suffering a puncture with the Hummer, and the Grider taking the rear out, and as Eric Vigarou, his teammate, gets the all clear to continue on the stage, Gordon soon replacing the tyre. But Gordon's third position in the overall standings, safe overall, and Gordon crossing the finish line, a superb third. He's leading two-wheel drive and leading petrol car as well. Whatever Gordon brings to this rally, he brings verve, he brings style, and he brings spectacular driving. We hope we will see more of him in the future, and likewise we hope to see more of the flying Norwegian, Ivar Erik Tollefsen, with British co-driver Quinn Evans alongside him in Glyn Pool's Nissan. Simple but very quick car, almost nothing has gone wrong with it, and he has managed to beat Krzysztof Holovic to fourth position in the overall standings by just 33 minutes. Holovic, the leading pole. On board with Holovic's co-driver Jean-Marc Fortin, he says, honestly, when we saw the contenders at the beginning of this rally, even in our craziest dreams, we just did not imagine this. We're more than satisfied our team, and our teammate Tollefsen has done so well. We're second, with two of us inside the top 5. And he says, I'm very sorry, I've got to get back to reading the notes. I don't want to go off. I don't blame you, Jean-Marc. Nanni Roma, holding the honour of Mitsubishi. They started with 4 cars, but they slipped to just 1 come the end of this rally. Their domination that started in 2001, they won 7 rallies on the bounce, but now they have had to hand the winner's trophy over to Volkswagen. Roma suffering fuel injector problems in the last couple of days and slipping down to 10th in the overall standings. Leonid Novitsky is a friend of Vladimir Putin, and by today's pace, Novitsky, who only just lost out on the stage victory to De Villiers by 2 seconds, was certainly racing back to Moscow for an ice-cold vodka. Teammate in the BMW X-Raid squad to Novitsky, Gerland Shisherit overshot a junction on the very first stage, and here on the very last stage of a 9,500 kilometre event, he did exactly the same. Fortunately for the French extreme skiing champion, he didn't go into a ditch and he didn't lose 9 hours with his indiscretion. Shisherit, 9th come the end of this rally. Shishirit not quite being the leading BMW over the line, that honour going to Nowitzki. Bruce Garland and Harry Suzuki. The Queenslander also made the mistake and went quite some yards down the road before he decided he'd missed his slot. Bruce Garland, 11th overall, whilst a superb run for Nicolas Gibon, bringing home his Toyota victorious in the T2 class. De Villiers being victorious on the stage for the third time, ahead of Nowitzki by just 2 seconds. Holovic, Roma and Shishirit. But in the overall standings, the results are De Villiers victorious by nearly 9 minutes ahead of Miller, Gordon, Tollefson and Holovic.
Absolutely incredible. You know, I've never experienced
Good, thank you.
never experienced such a feeling before. You know, very nervous the last couple of kilometers. You know, looking at the thing all the time. You know, to see how many kilometers to go. But I must say, unbelievable feeling. You know, I'm so happy for the team. You know, for everybody back at Wolfsburg at Volkswagen, which have been supporting us. You know, for 5 years to get this win. You know. The only thing I can say now is Das Auto. He brought us home, and you know, incredible, really incredible race, and really hard, really tough, great team. Everybody did a great job. You know, the guys worked until 4 or 5 in the morning. Sometimes, you know, if they had to. But you know, great job. You know, unbelievable feelings. You know, I still cannot believe it.
Today was, you know, simply just an issue of following Janil and never over revving the engine, and I really drove like a putz today, but you know, it was the end of the rally and there was no chance to finish third unless I completely screwed up. So, and of course I wasn't allowed to pass Janil. So now it was fantastic rally, and it's nice to finish. The fans were cheering the whole way, and I really, for the best finish ever for an American, you know, I'm proud about that, and I'm proud to be part of Volkswagen and Das Auto.
A very good Dakar for me. Happy for Monster Energy, Hummer, Toyo Tires. Everybody on Team Dakar USA did a wonderful job. No real mechanicals the whole rally, so I'm pretty excited about how our race went. I look back at it, we're an hour and a half down. I can add it up. I know where everything's at. What we got to do is next year we got to be better prepared when we show up and not make any mistakes.
Contentos de haber terminado.
I'm happy to finish. I'm just sad for the result. I would have preferred to fight for the win. I just want to congratulate Janil and Mark for their wins. They made a great rally. Drama in the last few days for the trucks on a dramatic rally for everybody. 2 weeks of racing, and the lead of Firadus Kabirov 2 days ago was just 14 seconds. But then the lead was tumbling, and it is Vladimir Chigin who is the victor of this year's rally in the truck section. All to play for on today's last blast to the finish, but it was Chigin who came across the line, once more the victor with these giants of the desert. Sometimes they even lost their way, but over the last few 250 kilometers, no problem at all for the Russian Kamaz squad. The Russians really proving their strength and celebrating very soon with a cool vodka in the heat of Argentina. Second, Gerard de Roy. De Roy, his father who won this rally back in 1988, and De Roy who now built his own truck in Holland, second position, still looking for outright victory. Next year, maybe. Everybody who came home a victor on this year's Dakar. The crowds were out. Van Vliet getting a successful position come the finish. Well, it's the final day of the rally tomorrow in the centre of Buenos Aires, the start and finish line of the biggest motorsport event on earth. A ceremonial podium in the centre of the capital city, the final part of the 9,500 kilometre Dakar Rally.